Hey there. So today I want to talk about printer security and printing management. These are two topics that you don't usually see on a certification exam, but there are things that I see in the real world. So I wanted to do a quick video this week, just talk about printer security and printing management. All right, so most organizations that I've seen anyway, they allow completely unrestricted printing. Anybody can send a job to print. It goes to the printer spits it out, and that's it. Entirely unrestricted. And that's okay in a lot of organizations. But in an organization where you're handling sensitive information or personally identifiable information or personal health information, things that are sensitive, you kind of need some visibility into your printing environment, because those are important, right? If you don't know who's printing what, how much they're printing, that what's happening to the print jobs after they come out of the printer, if those things that are being printed are being disposed of securely, you could be in trouble. Because if printing is unrestricted, again, somebody could be printing a whole lot of stuff, and I'm sure you have somebody in your office or maybe a bunch of people in your office that send jobs to the printer, and the printer just spits them out, and before you know it, there's a stack of unclaimed pages sitting at the printer. Well, who knows what's happening with that big stack of pages while it's sitting there. People could be sifting through it. They could be looking at it. They could be copying it. You could have unauthorized people looking at sensitive information. They could be stealing it. Who knows? Or at the end of the day, when there's that big stack of wasted pages, somebody's going to come along and just throw it into the recycling bin. And at that point, you could be disposing of sensitive information in an insecure way, and that could be a violation of law. So visibility into your printing environment is important. And there are lots of solutions that do this. I'm familiar with HP printers, and the solution that I've used is called SafeCom, but I think most of them work very similarly. They usually do some form of auditing so that you know who is printing, what they're printing, how much they're printing. And they don't usually allow completely unrestricted printing. What usually happens is someone will send their job to print, and then they will physically have to go to the printer and release that job. And then ostensibly, if they do that, they're right there to get their job, and they're going to take it away and do whatever they're going to do with it. Now, if they send a job to print and, of course, never claim it, then you're not wasting pages or toner. It just gets dropped after some predetermined amount of time, and, no problem. But these solutions, this is the kind of thing that they do. And that just gives you that visibility into your printing environment so that you can start to look at what's happening and figure out if, printing is a point of information loss on your network. Some organizations, they put in complicated data loss prevention solutions to prevent information from electronically leaking, so it can't be emailed or sent or copied to USB, things like that. But they forget that if somebody just prints out a document, they can just go grab it, throw it in their bag, and walk out with it, and that information is leaked, right? So printing management is something you need to have some visibility into. The other thing to think about with printers, especially multifunction printers or network printers, is that they are full-on endpoint devices. They are computers. They are running an operating system of some sort, usually some kind of Linux or sometimes Windows. I think HP calls theirs Future Smart. But they're running some kind of operating system, and as a result, it's going to have flaws. It's going to need updates. It needs to be maintained. These devices usually have some type of internal storage, whether it's flash memory or a hard drive or both, to save configuration information or temporary files and things like that. They are endpoints, and they've got to be managed like that. And that means locking down the control panel interface. So most of them have, some display that users can go to do whatever they're going to do, whether it's printing or copying or faxing or scanning or whatever it is. They should only have access to those functions on the control panel. They shouldn't be able to get into other aspects of configuring the device through the control panel. Remote access or remote administration has to be locked down as well. Only authorized administrators should be able to get into the machine, to access it, to make those configuration changes. And of course, the machine shouldn't usually be accessible via the internet unless that's some particular functionality that you require. And if you do, it's got to be locked down again so that only authorized people can access the machine, so that it's not, a weak point on your network. It's got to be locked down just like any other device. So these are things that are under an organization's control, right? They can lock down the printer access. They can implement a print management solution and get some visibility. So those are things an organization can do. But something that is not in their control, and that most laser printers, especially color laser printers, will do, is they will print machine ID codes. And these are not things that you can normally see with the naked eye, but what they are is that they are a microscopic pattern of dots, and they're used to identify the serial number and date and time that a particular page was printed from. And again, you won't see them with the naked eye, and manufacturers don't really document this or talk about it, but we know that these machine ID codes are on these pages, and certain 3 or 4 letter agencies can look at that machine ID code and determine where that print job came from. So if you're working in a high security environment, with the government or law enforcement, just be aware that these machine ID codes are on these pages. Even though you can't see them, they are there, and that's not in your control. Normally it's not a problem, right? For most organizations, no big deal, but very high security environments, those are there. You got to know about it. And if somebody was ever a technician at one of these print places, I would love to know more about that, because I find it fascinating. If you do some Google searching, there's been some reverse engineering that's been done about machine ID code. It's very interesting. It's kind of like when you try to photocopy money on a color printer. If you ever try to do that, the printer goes weird and starts doing funny things when it detects that there's currency on the glass, right? It does weird things, won't let you copy that kind of stuff. So there's stuff happening in the printer that you might not always be aware of. Anyways, so these are some things to think about when you're printing in your print environment. Alrighty, I hear my dog wants to go to the bathroom. I better take him. I hope that was entertaining or fun. By all means, leave a comment below if you like, and have yourself a great weekend. Bye-bye.